this is something that I personally do all the time now, especially now that I'm like a 40-plus-year-old grappler, and I will sometimes have to grapple with like very explosive young guys when I do no gi. Um, they'll get greedy for back takes, and when they get greedy enough for back takes, they don't always have quite the discipline to make sure that I'm not going to grab a leg lock on the way down. Most commonly a knee bar, but not always. Sometimes I grab a toe hold. Sometimes I turn just that grip that could be a knee bar or toe hold into a pivoting position where I can turn it into a heel hook or even a straight ankle lock. And in fact, in the dojo, most of the time I do straight ankle locks just for safety reasons and the mixed experience levels of people that I have with me on the mat, right? But this bit of footage is a very crystal clear example of a tactic which I think still works. Um, and it's reminiscent also of Royce Gracie versus Kazushi Sakuraba the first time they met, where of course Gracie Jiu-Jitsu's big imperative is get the back, get the back, get the back. They're always very greedy for the back, and that persists to this day. But those from a catch wrestling or shoot wrestling background, maybe even Sambo, a couple other disciplines who don't have quite the same tiered resistance to leg lock attacks. Um, and, me, since I spent a little bit of time cross training in some of these areas, we all have a high sensitivity for how we land when the guy goes for our back, right? And I'm always trying to get my legs to land in a staggered manner against his while also defending a choke. So if my chin is tucked, if I hand fight away any of his grip attempts to try to sink in a choke, and if I can position my hip so that my tailbone is over one of his legs, and therefore both of my legs will be on the other side of one of his legs, it's just asking to be landing that results in a knee bar. And I do this all the time. And what often happens if I don't get the knee bar, which I usually try to slap on kind of quickly, then they'll bend their knee and give me a toe hold. And even if I don't get the toe hold, as I mentioned earlier, it ends up being a pivot point to other kinds of leg lock attacks. So this is a really special bit of archival footage here where we can see this same exact tactic being used back in an era when people didn't necessarily have the same goals when they would take someone's back. Like if they did a hip drag down like the takedown attempt that's being done here, it was usually with the intent to try to get a pinning position, right? Like they would want to do some kind of turn or tilt. But in this case, modern day, it's usually people going for chokes. So this exact same sequence can still very meaningfully be used with an asterisk, and that asterisk would be that the man going for the knee bar has to actively defend a choke while he's looking for this opportunity. If his upper body is close enough to the attacker, like the bottom attacker's upper body, where that bottom attacker can go for a choke. If he lands far away from what we could call a choke zone, doesn't matter. That as much, I would say. Then the possibility for snatching up a knee bar is even easier. But I would argue that it's a distinct possibility in both scenarios. And it's really special that we have this little bit of grainy archival footage that shows that this exact same dilemma could have played out this way.